telling you which NFL over-unders as well as MVP odds you should be betting on. Let's get into it. We're going to be starting at the top with the over-unders. The Buffalo Bills are number one in the NFL at 12.5. And I think 12.5 is a little rich for me. Whenever you get super high or super low, it only takes one thing to go wrong, or vice versa when you're at the bottom, one thing to go right, for you to just miss out on that. The Bills can have a good season. 10, 11, 12 wins, those are good seasons. If Josh Allen misses a month, you could go 1-3, and that's over. Or you could lose a couple close games. Or maybe the team stays healthy and they're just not that good. I would take the under on this. I wouldn't feel super confident because I'd project the Bills to win. I'd project the Bills to win in between 10 and 13 games. So I do think there's a chance they win 13. But it's rich. I know the division's pretty easy, but it's still kind of rich for me. Eagles at 11.5. This one's also tough for me. I think the Eagles are once again in between 10 and 13, so that would put me right smack dab in the middle. I think the passing game could be a little suspect. I know it's good, but the division is tough. The Commanders, we saw what they did last year. I think the Giants' defensive line is going to be tough. Cowboys are going to have a good passing attack. I'm straight on the nose on this one. I would probably not bet on this either way. I think 11.5 is tough. Baltimore Ravens, 11.5 as well. I think this is an over. I think this is one of the all-time great NFL teams. I am projecting 14 or 15 wins. 14 or 15 wins. I think the Ravens hit this easily. So I bet over on there. Kansas City Chiefs at 11.5. This one's tough. Look, they won a lot of games last season. They won 15 games. They were really 15-1 because they didn't play in the last game of the season. A couple issues. Number one, the division is stacked. The worst team, the Raiders, they're decent. Chargers, Broncos, they have to play the first place schedule. I mean, they've got a lot of tough games, the Chiefs do. Won a lot of close games last year as well. It's tough because I think they're going to be pretty close. I'm going to go under 11.5. I know it's crazy because they've been so dominant. I think the Chiefs will win 9 or 10 games this year. Look, they're a good team, but most teams in the NFL are going to finish 8, 9, 10, 7, 6, somewhere in that range. You know, I don't have the Chiefs going over that. 49ers at 10.5. I've got under on this. Look, the Niners are good. I think the Niners are a good team. I think the Cardinals are better. I genuinely think the Cardinals are better. I think the Rams are an average team. Seahawks are below average, but I think the Niners are an 8 or 9 win team. I think they're middle of the pack. They could win 10 as well. I think the 49ers are in that 7 to 10 range. Not 7 and 10, but 7, 8, 9, 10 wins. 10.5? That's a push for me. That's a big push for me. Lions 10.5 as well. Look, the Lions just won 15 games last season. This one's tough because similar to the Chiefs, how good this division is and how kind of lucky the Lions get on a game-to-game basis. You know, Chiefs are 11.5. Lions are 10.5. I think they're in similar situations with how good. I'm going to go over. I do think the Lions could be a 9 or 10 win team that's still very good but loses some close ones. I'm going to go over. I think the Lions will get 11 or 12 wins. Chargers at 9.5. I think this is right where the Chargers should be at. 9.5. The Chargers feel an 8, 9, 10, 11 win team, somewhere in that range. They did just lose Rashawn Slater. I'm not going to touch the Chargers at 9.5. I think they will finish right around this. Vikings at 9.5. I'm going heavy under. Very tough division. Bad quarterback. That's a double whammy. A tough division where you could go 0-6 in the division, as well as a first-year quarterback that wasn't that good in college. Well under 9.5 for the Vikings. Rams at 9.5. Look, the Rams last year had a negative point differential. They have an aging quarterback that is getting injured pretty consistently now. I think the Rams are an 8 or 9 win team, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range. You know, I probably wouldn't bet on this if you forced me to. I'd lean under, but it's going to be close. I think the Rams will be right in that playoff hunt. We got the Commanders at 9.5. I'm surprised they're not higher in the NFC Championship with the second-year quarterback, with most of the team returning. I know they just lost Brian Robinson. You know, I think the Commanders are right around here once again. Not to be boring, you know, I don't like to just say I'm not going to pick these, but I'm trying to give you the good picks. I'm trying to make you the money. And I think the Commanders will be 8, 9, 10 wins, somewhere in that range, kind of similar to the Chargers. Tough division. If you force me to pick, I'll go over, but I'm not excited to pick the Commanders. Packers at 9.5. This is an easy over for me. An easy over. Packers have a very balanced team. Jordan Love is going to be healthy. They've got good offense, good defense, good run game. I mean, they're balanced everywhere. Now, it is a tough division. I will admit that. But they've got a relatively easy schedule, minus the division. I think the Packers finish with 11 or 12 wins. Broncos at 9.5. I think they'll go over. I think the Broncos will have 10 or 11 wins. It's going to be close, no doubt. You know, when you've got a great defense, when you've got an okay offense, that's kind of getting you in that 10, 11, maybe 9-win range. So I don't dislike the Broncos there. Now we're getting into the lower half of the teams. Texans 9.5. This one's an interesting one. I'm going to go over, not by much. 10, 11 wins. You got C.J. Stroud. You got top 10 defense. You're in a weak division. I think the Texans get it done. Bucks at 9.5 is absolutely insane to me. I think the Bucks clear this easily. I think the Bucks are in contention for the 1 seed in the NFC. Bucks at 9.5. Somebody made a mistake in the system. Bucks, you can't have a 9.5. Bengals 9.5. I've got the Bengals over as well. The defense has to be better. It has to be better. There's no way they can be that bad again. The offense should be good. You got Joe Burrow, you got Chase, you got Higgins. Bengals are a 10-11 win team. Now this one, I don't know what to say. I don't know who's doing the math here. I don't know who's coming to these conclusions. The Patriots, I'm zooming in to make sure this is correct. 8.5 wins? No way, Jose. This is a dud. This is a losing bet. Patriots are not going to get to a winning. This is just saying, will they have a winning or a losing season? The Patriots are not going to be a winning team. They are not going to be a winning team. Chicago Bears, 8.5. Look, are they a better than average team? I think so. They are in an incredibly tough division. This one could go either way for me. It really depends on how dominant the NFC North is. If the Vikings show up, which, you know, obviously Vegas thinks they will, it's going to be tough having 6 hard games in your division. I probably wouldn't touch just 8.5. Feels just about right. Cardinals at 8.5. I've got the Cardinals going over. Cardinals had a positive win differential. They have an improved offensive line. They've got a good defense. They've got, I'm going to say, an MVP caliber quarterback in Kyler Murray. I think they go over 8.5. I think they're going to win their division, so I think they're going to have 11 or 12 wins. And yeah, I think this is a pretty easy bet. Pittsburgh Steelers 8.5. That is another dumpster fire waiting to happen. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers plays 8 games before he retires, quits, gets in a fight. Mike Tomlin's going to retire before Thanksgiving. Total dumpster fire. The Steelers are not going to have a winning season. Seahawks 8.5. Well, 2 of the books have them 8.5. One of them have them at 7.5. I'd go under 8.5. 7.5 I wouldn't bet. I view the Seahawks as kind of a 7 or 8 win team. They're just below average. They're not great. I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, so I think the Seahawks will be slightly below average. Jacksonville Jaguars 7.5. Look, they should be good, but I view them as a 6, 7, 8, 9 win team, somewhere in that range. You know, maybe best case scenario they slip into the wild card, but this was one I don't want to bet on. Cowboys 7.5. You know, this one's weird to me because out of all the teams that have below a 8 or 9 win total, this is by far the best quarterback in Dak Prescott. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got George Pickens. Look, I don't have much faith in the Cowboys at all. But if all we need to do to cash the bet is to win 8 games, and we've got a top 12 quarterback in Dak, I've got to take the over. I mean, I don't like Dak. I don't like the Cowboys, but 7.5, it feels weak to me. Falcons at 7.5 as well. I think the Falcons are going to push the Bucs. Now, I do think the Bucs are going to win the division and be close to the 1 seed. I think the Falcons are going to be an on-fire team. They got 2 young pass rushers this year. They've got Michael Penix. And look, I think the offense is going to be quite electric this year. So Falcons over 7.5 feels like an easy bet to me. You got the Colts at over under 7.5. They got Daniel Jones starting at quarterback. Does Daniel Jones have 7 career wins? Colts aren't winning 8+ games. I mean, let's be honest. Dolphins 7.5. I'd probably take the over on that. I'm not sold on this bet. Look, they're a good offense. The defense it's average to above average. The division isn't super tough. I think they could easily get 4 wins in division, and then all you need is 4 outside of the division. I think the Dolphins get there, not by much. I don't think the Dolphins are going to win double digits, probably 8 or 9 wins, but the Dolphins should be an average football team. Titans over under 6.5. I think the Titans will be better this year than they were last year. Obviously, they were the 1 seed, so they can only get better. They did have the number 2 defense in the NFL last year. They do have a better quarterback. But 7+ wins. The division isn't great. I probably wouldn't touch this bet. 6.5. I don't love it. Jets at 6.5 as well. I'm going to go under. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have culture. They don't have a defense. The Jets suck. So the Jets are going to stink it up. Raiders at 6.5. I don't think they have a quarterback. I think Genti is severely overrated. I think the defense is kind of trash. So I'm going to go under for the Raiders. Panthers at 6.5. Look, I want to root for Bryce Young. I want to root for Tet. I want to root for Xavier Legette. I can't. They were last in NFL in point differential. That means that they got blown out. They won the close games and lost all the games that they got blown out in, obviously. And look, when the Panthers, the only games they won last year were barely. So I think they're actually going to lose a few of those games that they barely won. I don't think they're going to get to 7, 8, 9, 10 wins. I think they might get to 7, but I think that's kind of their ceiling. Giants over under 5.5. I think the Giants go over that. Look, they've got a good defensive line. They're going to have better quarterback play. I think they're going to get to 8 wins. I think they're going to be a middle-of-the-pack NFC team. We got the Saints at 4.5. Look, I don't like to bet the unders when we're that low, but the Saints don't have a quarterback. They don't. The team overall, they're not even trying. They're in a division. I mean, the Panthers, maybe they get 1 win there, but the Saints, I'm not sold on the Saints. And Browns at 4.5. Look, I don't like to bet the unders either on these teams. I probably wouldn't touch the Saints or the Browns if I'm being honest with how low it is. Because think about what needs to happen for you to just get to 5 wins. You get lucky in 2 wins, and then, you're going to win some games. Even if the Saints and Browns go under 4.5, what are they going to go under by? 0.5? 1.5? It's not going to be. You don't have much margin for error. And let's go to NFL MVP odds. And I'll tell you what bets are good. Joe Burrow. So we got a 3-way tie. Oh, it depends on the sport book here. But Burrow, Jackson, and Allen are all plus 600 pretty much. I'm just going to average them out because they're all plus 550, plus 650. But you got a 3-way tie. Burrow, Jackson, Allen. I don't like to bet when the odds, the implied odds are 16.7%. So let's just say 17% for each of them. Look, you're going to have to wait 6 months to get this money anyways. The return, obviously you're 5xing your money, but, 6xing your money. I don't think it's enough. It's not a huge payoff to be waiting that long, so I probably wouldn't bet on any of these guys. If I did have to bet on Burrow, Jackson, or Allen, I'd probably bet Jackson. I think the Ravens will be 14, 15 wins. So when you're that good, especially with how dynamic Lamar is, he probably is going to get MVP consideration. The voters do have fatigue, though. Allen just won it, so he's going to have to be phenomenal to win again. Burrow just had a great season, and he plays in the division with the Ravens. So for Burrow to win it, he'd probably have to win the division. Allen and Jackson are both have to be phenomenal. So I wouldn't bet on any of those guys. Right behind him, you got Mahomes and you got Daniels. Mahomes is plus 700. Look, the Chiefs just went 15-2, and he didn't get it. So I don't know how much better, and he's already won it before. So I wouldn't bet on Mahomes. Daniels, he's plus 850. Excuse me. Out of the top 5 guys, if he's able to repeat what he did last season and they were able to win the division, I think that would solidify him as the MVP. I'll say this. I probably wouldn't bet on him, but if you're going to bet on the Commanders to win a division, you might as well bet on Daniels to win MVP. The Commanders to win the division, it's about plus 300. If the Commanders win the division, Daniels has to play phenomenal. So I would probably just bet Daniels to win MVP versus the Commanders to win the division. So that's my bet. Jalen Hurts, he's plus 1,700. Look, you can pretty much 17 extra money with him, but with how good that team is, with them just coming off that great season, the Super Bowl win, it's going to be tough for him to get it. He's going to have to be phenomenal through the air. And Saquon Barkley would actually probably have to get hurt, which it's crazy to root for that. But yeah, I wouldn't bet on Daniels. You got Herbert at plus 2,000, so the 20 extra money. They did just lose Rashawn Slater, so that's going to hurt him. They invested a lot in the run game. You've got Jim Harbaugh. I don't think Herbert, he could win MVP hypothetically due to his talent. I do think that due to the team and the structure around him, I do think it's going to be pretty hard for him to do enough to win it. Jordan Love at plus 2,500, so the 25x your money. I like this bet. I think this is the first one where I would consider betting on it. Look, I think the Packers have a legit chance to get the 1 seed. I think this is a good team. Got a lot of good weapons for him. It's going to be a solid team. If he puts it all together and wins that gauntlet of an NFC North, I think he's going to be in the running for it. So I think Love's got potential. Baker at plus 2,500, so once again, 25 extra money. I probably wouldn't. The division isn't that good, so it's kind of tough to get those big primetime important games against dominant teams. I think Baker's good. Does have a lot of weapons on that team. He would have to have a phenomenal season to win it. You got C.J. Stroud, plus 2,500 once again. Kind of got a little bit of a group of these guys at the same odds. I don't mind C.J. Stroud. He's got Nico Collins. He's in a dome. He's going to be... The issue for C.J. Stroud is he's in an easy division. So even if he wins the division, he doesn't get that respect that Love would get. Or Daniels, if he wins his division... he'd have to be phenomenal, which I do think he will bounce back to a degree from his sophomore slump. You got Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is probably my favorite pick. He's at plus 4,000, so 40 extra money. And look, I think he's going to win the division. And I think and obviously he's to stay healthy, duh, like any other guy you're going to bet on MVP for. But if Kyler Murray stays healthy, I think he could have the most yards ever from a quarterback, passing and rushing combined. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I think Kyler Murray's a phenomenal bet at plus 4,000. You got Caleb Williams. I'm not sold on this. Plus 3,300, so 33 extra money. I don't love it. Look, Caleb Williams, he might be better this year. I don't think he showed enough to be a guy that could win an MVP, so I'm gonna opt on that, pass out on that. You got Brock Purdy at plus 3,000. I also don't like this bet. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. I don't think he has the highs and the lows, the boom or bust potential to be good enough to win an MVP. I think he can be a top 8 guy. I don't think he's good enough to win an MVP. Jared Goff at plus 3,000, plus 3,300, depending on the book. Jared Goff, they've already led the NFL in points per game. They've already been the 1 and the 2 seed with him. If he didn't win it in 2024, 2023, you're never going to win it. And he doesn't have the rushing potential or the highlight play, so I don't think Goff can win it. Dak Prescott at 3,500. Look, kind of similar to Jane Daniels. If he's able to win the division, and they're not going to be running the football at all. So if Jerry's team, if the Dallas Cowboys can have a phenomenal aerial attack, if he can throw for 5,500 passing yards, and they have 11, 12 wins, I think he'll be in consideration. And he does have the weapons for it. He's got CD. He's got George Pickens. Maybe. I probably wouldn't bet on it. You got Bo Nix. I wouldn't bet on Bo Nix. He's not an MVP caliber guy. You got Matthew Stafford. I wouldn't bet on him. He's not an MVP caliber guy. You got Drake May. I don't think Dre May is good at all. People are talking about him like he's going to be something. I don't agree with it. Trevor Lawrence, if you really want to bet on a deep sleeper, I guess I'd go Lawrence. He's got the weapons. He's got Hunter. He's got Thomas in a weak division. I'm not a big fan of it. Aaron Rodgers, not even going to discuss him. He's completely irrelevant. Michael Penix at plus 6,000. I think that offense is going to be good. If he shocks us this year, if the Falcons score 30 points per game and he wins the division with 12 wins, Michael Penix is going to be game for that award. Now, Bijan does kind of hurt him in that backfield. We've got a few guys here. Sam Darnold, don't care about him. He's not going to win it. J.J. McCarthy, don't care about him. Tua, that's not going to happen. Derrick Henry, we're getting into a few running backs here. Henry, Barkley, Gibbs. Running backs can't win it. They shouldn't win it. They're just not important enough to win it. You got Bryce Young. I don't think they're going to win enough games. I don't know if he's going to be healthy for the whole season to win it. Anthony Richardson's already been benched. You got Bijan. You got McCaffrey. Once again, I've already discussed running backs. Russell Wilson, no. Cam Ward at plus 10,000. Look, I haven't seen him play, so it's tough to comment on how good he's going to be. But I mean, look, if he's a rookie of the year, he's got unlimited potential, I guess is what I'm saying. Unlike guys that we've seen before him. You know, Justin Fields is plus 10,000. Cam Ward's plus 10,000. I know Justin Fields sucks. I don't know about Cam Ward, so I'd bet on Cam Ward. Jamar Chase can't win it. Geno Smith, no. Justin Jefferson, no. Max Crosby, no. Hunter, no. I guess Hunter, if it's going to be a non-quarterback, if Hunter's the best wide receiver and best cornerback in the NFL, I guess. I don't see it happening. And then let's see if there's anybody else. Daniel Jones, no. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the quarterbacks. A non-quarterback can't win it. I hate when people even bring that up. If it was going to be a non-quarterback, it would be Travis Hunter. If it's not going to be Travis Hunter, because I know some people won't count that, I guess I'd go... It's actually pretty tough, because Derrick Henry's with Lamar, so he can't win it. Saquon's with Jalen Hurts, so he can't win it. Jahmyr Gibbs is not a bell cow back that can win it. Bijan, no, because he's with Penix. McCaffrey's with Purdy. If it's not going to be a quarterback, probably it'd be Justin Jefferson. If he can lead offense to be phenomenal again with a bad quarterback, I guess. I don't know. But I would bet, my top bet for the over-under would be the Ravens over 11.5, and then it would be Kyler Murray to win MVP.